All right, healing family. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to another video, part of the pre-heart healing series. I'm excited about today. For the next couple of videos, I'm just going to be kind of digging a little bit deeper into the meat of the topics I talked about in the last video. In the last video, I basically gave 10 kind of concepts, ideas that I find extremely helpful, and I found extremely helpful in my healing journey. And they are things that I would recommend really looking into, really digging into before actually engaging with the nitty-gritty healing of whether that be going through trauma, whether that's healing things like depression, anxiety, deep childhood hurts, whatever it may be, relational issues. These are things that I found make it immensely easier. And so for the next couple of videos, I'm going to be digging into them a little bit deeper just to really kind of get out all the marrow and meat and everything else that's inside of them. And so, yeah, I'm excited to get into it. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ethan Black. I'm a guy who's gone through a lot of crap, and I'm hoping that my experience can help whoever else is struggling with some similar mental health issues. With that being said, let's dive into it. Today's video is all about balance. This is one of the first topics I talked about in the last video. So with mental health, I think that balance is essential. We hear gurus and we hear the wise old guys in movies talk about balance all the time. We hear Yoda talking about the balance of the Force, right? We hear Uncle Iroh and Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda saying the same thing. Iroh's not from Kung Fu Panda, he's from Avatar, but that's besides the point. I'm getting distracted. But in mental health, a lot of the time we just kind of want to know what the right answer is. And the tricky thing is that a lot of the time in mental health, it's not a yes or no, it is a yes and. Which, this drove me nuts because for so long I just wanted to know what was the thing I needed to do, what was the right thing, what was the right tendency or the right practice, that I did that thing and I did it fully and wholeheartedly, and once I did it, I'd be perfect. And what I found is that a lot of the time the answer in mental health is finding balance in the answer. And now this can look at things like, think of the work-rest balance or the work-life balance, which many of us struggle to strike that stride. Talking about me personally. But another one is when to grieve versus when to move on. So if maybe you lose someone that's really important to you, whether that's through death or they just move away. Maybe that's through trauma that you experienced in a natural disaster, an accident, or some sort of abuse. Learning the balance of when to grieve and when to move on. Because if you grieve for too long, you end up being weighed down and become depressed. And if you just move on too quickly without balancing it with when to grieve, then you just end up suppressing everything until it later resurfaces, whether that is through a dysfunctional relationship, whether that is through a mental breakdown, or whether that is through your body physically breaking and falling apart. These are all three things that I'm talking about from my own experience, not just random ones I pulled off of Google. That wasn't like, that felt like a jab. That wasn't a jab. If you Google things, that's fine. You can Google things. I Google things. Now I'm getting distracted. Set goals versus journey mentality. So I had someone ask me this question in the comments for the Goku video I did, which is, how do you set goals if there's no finish line to the mental health journey? Which is a great question. I mean, how do you set a goal without getting too locked in on it? Well, here's the thing. Goals are meant for you. You aren't meant for the goals. So if you're trying to hit a goal, and maybe that's going a week without an anxiety attack, then that's awesome. I commend you for that. That's huge. But if you have an anxiety attack throughout that week and you get so angry at yourself and so pissed off at yourself and so annoyed at the fact that you got anxious that creates anxiety, like if it starts to really mess with you in a way that it shouldn't, that is where you can detect an unhealthy balance of setting the goal versus the journey and knowing that it's okay and to give yourself grace and that there's no finish line that you have to have this figured out by. I find that balance usually falls into these three categories, which would be physical balance, mental balance, and emotional balance. And those three are I feel like they're pretty widely known and regarded. Physical balance is obviously like your working versus your rest. So making sure that your muscles and your body is strong. It comes back rejuvenated and it comes back with energy. Making sure you're getting enough sleep, you're eating the right foods, you're getting some exercise to make sure you have a healthy work and balance with the rest. Same thing with emotional. This honestly comes mostly with the emotional maturity video that I'll be coming out with in 2 weeks. That's the next video coming up. But it is learning how to balance your emotions, how to let them flow properly, how to know the moments where you need to allow your emotions to flow, and when to take charge and say, all right, I know I feel this way, but I can't let these emotions guide every single decision that I make. It's the ability to acknowledge and show compassion and grace for those emotions and that part of you, while not letting them take over your life and take over your mental state. And in terms of mental balance, I find for me, mental balance usually, I would say like an unbalance in mental health, mental health, but in the mental area of balance comes in the form of either overwhelmed or peaceful. And so in that area, the balance comes in learning to find those times to let your brain just chew on things, just think on things. Maybe that's through journaling, maybe that's through verbally processing with a friend or just to yourself. Or maybe that's just through doing nothing, which is terrifying, I know, but it's not too bad. And I'm going to give that its own day and its own video too, because that's a practice I've really fallen in love with. So we've kind of talked about what balance looks like. Now comes the question, how the fluff do I balance? Like, what's the practical steps, the practical ways? And so I'm so glad you asked, because balance, practical tip, Baruski, oh, that was so bad. Number one is going to be learning to let go of the black and white mentality, or the all or nothing mentality. Now, this is an OCD tendency, and it has gripped me by the throat for the majority of my life. This comes in the form of if you have a checklist of something that you'd like to do, whether that is for work, school, personal, the idea that if you can't accomplish everything that's on that list, what's even the point? I mean, if you're not enough to accomplish all those things in the times that you allotted for it, then, and you're not able to accomplish it, then you just weren't enough. You might as well not even try it because you're just useless. This is the way that my brain thought for a very long time, and it still falls into this tendency more times than I'd like to admit. But getting rid of this idea of this black and white mentality that things have to be one way, that you either have to learn fully to rest and you rest and that'll fix everything, or you're just going to work really, really hard and that is going to fix all your mental health issues. You're just going to keep grinding and read all of the books and do all the things, and that is the thing that's going to help. Or you take a sabbatical that lasts for 3 months and you do absolutely nothing, and that is the thing that is going to help. No. Finding balance between those two things, learning to let go of the black and white, learning to let go of that all or nothing mentality, that is where balance can start to grow. Now, how you can actually find this for yourself is being a curious observer and looking into those areas of yourself where there's a little bit of tension. For me, I'm a workaholic. So for me, what balance looks like and what I'm doing currently to find balance is creating intentional time to rest. Because that's the thing that I will not give myself naturally. I will naturally work myself till I break. So what I need to do is I have 2 days of the week. One day is the day I spend with family, and I'll do some chores and I'll do some things. And there's another day of the week that I will take purely to do whatever I want, whatever is rejuvenating. Now, that does not mean just sitting on the couch and watching something all day, but it means doing different things to engage my mind, engage my body in a healthy way that's not strenuous, but just relaxing and enjoyable. And how to relax well is another video, and that's a different topic, but look at those places where you struggle. For me, it's rest. So what do? I make intentional time to rest. Maybe for you, you have a really hard time connecting with your emotions. So create intentional time to connect. Create intentional time to journal maybe the things that have happened in that day. And then ask yourself, how did you feel about those things? Sometimes you just kind of have to throw spaghetti at the wall and just kind of like guess of how you felt towards things. If you're really emotionally disconnected like I am, and I'm learning to not be, then it takes time to be able to engage and make intentional time to just give it to that thing. Maybe for you, maybe where you need to find balance is in flexibility. If you're someone like me, again, I'm very rigid. I have my routines and I love them very much. And so what do? I create intentional time that I throw those routines off balance. I will have, maybe it's a morning routine or an evening routine, and I will just skip it. And for me, for a while, that would create a lot of anxiety. To skip my morning routine, to skip a meal, those were things that I would actually really invoke a lot of anxiety in me. And so what did I do? I created intentional time to push against that natural tendency I had. Now here's the thing, when you do this, with no matter what sort of tendency you're pushing against the natural grain you have, you are going to feel pushback. Your body is going to push back because you've been doing this one thing and it's natural, it feels right. So when you do it, when you try to create that balance, you're going to feel pushback. You might feel anxious, you might feel depressed, your body might fight tooth and nail and be screaming and kicking like a little kid. And you have to acknowledge it, give it grace, but just allow it to sit. You don't have to act on it. The second you feel that push, that compulsion of, okay, you know what? No, I need to do that routine. No, I need to work. I don't feel comfortable resting. No. Allow yourself to be pushed back without suppressing. Suppressing is just denying that you're feeling anything. No. Acknowledge, yeah, I feel like crap right now. I feel really anxious. But I am safe right now. I am okay right now. And so because of that, even though I feel awful, I'm going to keep pushing against this because I know this is a place where I need to find balance and flexibility. Finding this type of balance requires learning how to listen to your body, to your mind, to your emotions. And for most of us nowadays, this is not something that comes naturally. Give it time. It will. This is not a comfy journey. Finding this sort of balance is immensely hard if it's not something that comes naturally. This is something I've had to work really hard at, and I'm still working really hard at it. But I can report, I just got back from a vacation with my family, and this is the first vacation in my entire life. I'm 20 years old now. The very first vacation in my life that I have ever enjoyed. I have never been able to just relax and enjoy a vacation because I felt like I had to do something, like I had to work. And I have finally learned how to find balance between the work and the rest. There are times that are for work, times that are for rest. Let them exist in their separate worlds. You don't always have to work. You don't always have to rest. And there's always underlying things that motivate the way that we naturally go. But again, it's a whole different conversation. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys have any questions or any thoughts, anything you think I got right or wrong, please let me know. Tell me in the comments. If there's anything I could be doing better, please let me know. I hope you all are doing well. I hope your hearts are well, your minds are well, and your bodies are well. I hope you're enjoying the summer, and I will talk to you guys next time. All right. Love you all very much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And it's time to stand up. Oh, shoulder crack. Oh boy.